based upon. Watch your step.
Старинная церковь, Джим.
This, of course, is 77 Baptistry. It's given memory of Fanny Packard here. She was relative to the Packard family. I always like to say money begets money. What's interesting is this was designed by the very famous brass designer. His name was J.R. Lamb. We have two Lambs involved. J.R. Lamb was also known for designing the staircase, the grand staircase at the courthouse. Now what you're going to see, of course, is our Victorian Baroque style angel of baptism. Her base is butternut wood. She's a cantilever. I just easily lift her up and she ascends into the heavens. If you're here for the 9:30 a.m. service, you may be lucky enough to witness a baptism. On my left and on my right are the last gas-powered fixtures here in the church, lit for baptisms as well as special occasions. Now this brasswork is unique because it's the same brasswork you see in the staircases at the courthouse. The base is Champlain marble. It is from the Champlain region of upstate New York. If you look at the ceiling, the four angels of baptism, it was actually painted by another artisan by the name of F.A. Lamb. He was no relation to J.R. Lamb. It's unique because it's oil on canvas surrounded by morning glories as well as passion flowers. They say morning glories and passion flowers symbolize new life. How appropriate for baptistry. Underneath the arches, and I wish I could say the arches came from Kidder Township where the majority of the stone came from to build the church, but the arches are actually run in from Vermont. Now I'm going to show you our 14-foot rosé style window. And as you guys can see where I'm pointing, this particular window is naturally illuminated. It naturally illuminates usually later 6 p.m. in the evening, late July, all the way through September. It reflects off of the white sandstone rear doss, which is this grand altar wall or altar curtain that I'm speaking of. The great cathedrals of Europe, they were known to have them. So interestingly enough, you look at the way this window is put together. It contains cobalt blue glass. Now we know today cobalt blue glass is no longer used due to radioactivity. The second thing is, of course, it was made of a substance called Munich sand. Munich sand is no longer around. The reason being is that it came from the shores of Munich, Germany, and unfortunately, like many of our natural resources, we just overused it, so it's gone. The more red in the window, the more expensive because they actually do have to melt gold. And this window has a unique history because I want you to think about the late 1800s, early 1900s. There was approximately 65 millionaires in what was the known United States at that time. 16 of those millionaires, they actually did live here in Hardin County. 6 of those millionaires attended church here. One of those millionaires is Asa Lansford Foster. He made Lansford, the town from which I was born and raised, one of the wealthiest towns in all of the county as well as the state. Sadly, out of 1990, my friends, it is one of the most poorest, poverty-stricken towns in all of Pennsylvania, poorer than Braddock. 1 in 5 children live below poverty, and 50% of students don't graduate from high school. So if you guys do go to the Mine Museum, it does, of course, help the local economy. What you will see, of course, is the Breath of My Love window. It is based on the oil painting located in the mansion between the master bedroom and the dressing area. In 1905, Mary Packard Cummings, she takes that painting to New York City. Louis Comfort Tiffany, he reproduces it in stained glass. Now, these windows are reliant on natural light. If you were with me last year, I used an artificial lighting element, but because of preservation, you don't want on an almost 100-year-old window to be doing a 5,000-watt bulb. So we basically now rely on natural light. Louis Comfort Tiffany, he never painted flesh tones. Instead, he used something called the glassing technique. If I knew how he did it, I'd probably be a millionaire. So unfortunately, he took that secret to the grave. Also, you will see the outstretched cruciform arms of the Christ child. His garment is layered, and it's unique because he's very statuesque, like he can almost come out of the window. This particular window is given in memory of Lucy Packard Linderman, Helen Packard's family grandchildren, as well as 2 So if you've been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they have that one section of like medieval art, this of course reminds me more of one of those medieval style windows. This is called the Butler window because it was the Butler family, Alexander and Anna Butler, who gave money for it. And it's also called Abide in Us. It's unique because you guys see where I'm pointing? You can almost see the indentation of the face of Christ. And again, it is very dependent on the natural light. Now, if you notice, of course, the dark colors, the purples and the greens, that's achieved using something called lightning glass. I always joke, if you saw the movie Sweet Home Alabama, they were always looking for that. The reason being is because that is a glass that you can easily dye many colors, and artisans like that. Also, there's an interesting fact about Carbon County. So at one time, here in little old Carbon County, we had 8 Louis Comfort Tiffany original windows. Thankfully, these 2 are well preserved. Sadly, my friends, the other 6, they were lost to history. They were at my church, the Roman Catholic Church of St. Michael at St. Catherine Drexel. When the diocese closes us in 2016, one single window will retail for $8.6 million to a private collector. So it's probably in somebody's bathroom for all I know. Also, of course, is the lectern. It's complementary to the 1887 baptistry. And it's unique because J.R. Lamb, who designed the baptistry, in 1900, Mary Packer Cummings wanted a monument to her mother. So the lectern was designed in memory of Sarah Packer. It's gold brass, Champlain marble base. Now the unique thing, of course, is the eagle, the gold brass eagle. In evangelicalism, the eagle symbolizes St. John. And in my personal opinion, I think somebody had some forward thinking, for in the year of 1980, we actually merged with the other Episcopalian church of St. John. Thus were denoted St. Mark and St. John. The pulpit is given in memory of Robert Packer. He is the eldest son of Asa and Sarah. It has the same complementary Champlain marble base. And you know, it's so unique because the baptistry is 1887. These 2 pieces are 1900. You know, nowadays, if you had to replace a piece of kitchen tile, forget it. You're not finding the same thing. The white sandstone rear dots, the 3 panels are really unique because the replica panels of the 3 panels located at St. George's Chapel of Windsor Castle. Now follow me. According to urban legend, when Asa Packer died, he allegedly was one of the wealthiest men in all of the United States. His wife contacts Queen Victoria, asked if we could replicate such rear dots. The Queen was flattered and honored, sent her own personal architects, artisans, and assistants. It took about a year and a half to complete. In reality, probably larger pieces done on site, so every Sunday people got to see progress. Smaller pieces done in the studio. The cross in the middle is Art Deco. People say, Joe, what are you doing with an Art Deco cross in a Victorian Baroque church? In the 1930s, Eleanor Rimmel, she was one of our organists. She passed away. Her family went to Philadelphia to a jeweler. They had 3 specific requests because they wanted to give the church a showpiece. So one was, of course, it had to be a cross. The second is it had to be made of 12 karat gold. The 2 third ones are the base had to be gold brass, and it had to run an electrical switch in the priest's sacristy. So they're pretty reasonable. Well, guess what? They had a really bizarre request. They said to that jeweler, break the mold. We don't want any other church in the world to have that cross. So guess what? When you got the money, right? You can get people to do whatever, and the jeweler did. The choir stalls are given in memory of Harry Packer. Harry Packer marries his young wife Gussie when she's 14, and he's in his 30s. Left her a widow at the age of 19 because he dies when he's 34. The Victorian era. But anyway, this choir stalls, they're quite Anglican in nature. Remind me of the choir stalls located at Westminster Abbey. Butternut wood, gold brass. Now the organ, people always say, Joe, what's up with the organ? So as you guys can see, we have 3 sets of decorative organ pipes. They're from the 1869 organ. 1911, Mary Packer Cummings donates an Austin organ. So my friends, you see that console where I'm pointing at? That's not a 1911. What they did was they actually refurbished the 1911 organ. They replaced the console in the year 2000. The work was done by J.R. Bruner Company, Silver Springs, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. When you refurbish an organ, you take it down to its most original pieces, cut the keys, you rewire it. They added bells and whistles, as I like to say. In reality, chime and trombone sounds. Any questions so far?